The question I've been asking my entire life has been, what's possible? And how do we create it? And that's led me to create our Empowerment Institute, which is 40 years old, almost. And what that has opened up for me is the process of empowerment. That being empowering individuals to envision and create what they want in their lives. And we built a workshop called the Empowerment Workshop. Became a think tank really on the notion of empowerment. And over the years have expanded that out to the next natural level. Organizations, communities, countries, ultimately a planet. Through many, many different initiatives that have all come together now in this Reinventing the Planet plan, which focuses on three key areas: climate, development, and peace, and brings to it the knowledge of how to create change that can actually have the transformation we need on our planet. We call it second order change, or transformative social change. And it's rooted in this notion of agency. I am, and I can, and we are, and we can. And that's the heart of this plan. Second order change, capacity across the planet, across these three critical issues that we have to get right for humanity's evolution. So that's our plan. What excites me is that I have always been a change the world type. I've always believed that we can make a better world. I've always been a crazy person regarding what's possible, and have had these amazingly outrageous dreams. Some would call them crazy. Some would call them audacious. Some would call them inspiring. And those dreams have been about what's possible for humanity. And I have been on many grand adventures. One, to pass the torch of peace around the world, and the world came together and said yes. World leaders, many millions of people, 1 billion people watching it through the media. Climate, saying, okay, let's see if we can actually change the behaviors that are contributing to the causes of our deterioration of our climate and our environment at large. And scaling that across many countries, around many cities, and around the issue of being able to see if we can help people who've been living in poverty to transform that cycle through this notion of agency. And we're in 12 countries across Africa and Central Asia and India and the Middle East. And in each of these, the core question is enabling someone to dream. To dream a different dream than they've ever had been invited to dream before. In effect, the question that I ask, what's possible, is the question at the heart of this. And Reinventing the Planet is really a question of what's possible for humanity. And it's not based on fear. It's not based on the threats. It's based on the dream, on our imagination. And so it's full of creativity, and it's full of enthusiasm, and it's full of people who are just saying, of course we can do this. So as an official crazy one on planet Earth, what I have discovered is that there's not just one crazy one. There are many of us. We identify with this notion that anything is possible, and that, we're kind of like coming out of the John Lennon Imagine vision, which is, you may call me a dreamer, but I'm not the only one, which is the most popular song on planet Earth, as it turns out, because there are many of us who have this dream. We've been encoded with this dream. And the dream is that we can create a world of our most profound aspirations. We can create peace on Earth. Absolutely. We can heal our environment and live in a world of most profound beauty. We can transform the cycle of poverty and have thriving, beautiful communities all over the world. It's possible. Absolutely possible. What enables it to be possible is the ability to activate within people the willingness to dream. As I am a dreamer, there are many. But the art form of enabling someone to dream, we call agency. The institute that I founded 40 years ago with my wife, Fjell Straub, has been a laboratory around the notion of agency. or enabling people to envision and create what they want in their lives, and also enabling communities to move into the we are and we can mentality, which is the collective dream. And so, imagine harnessing that now across the planet around the issues. And what happened for me in my life was that intuitively I was drawn to the issues that you might call the evolutionary drivers, the ones that are most on the edge that enable our evolution. I've always been called to those. And they boil down to three things: the issue of peace on Earth, the issue of a transformed relationship with Gaia, or the Earth, and a relationship between the individual and the sense of having a thriving life, which you would call development. In the developing world is the term that's used for that. So those have been the spaces that I've been drawn to. And in the specific one around development, it's specifically around the issue of women's empowerment and youth empowerment, because when you empower a woman, you empower a community. When you empower a community, you empower a country. And my wife and I have built a program we call Imagine that has been very successful at doing that. And it's now all over Africa, all over the Middle East, all over India, all over Central Asia. And another one is this project called Cool Block, which brings people together on a block to meet their neighbors. A very exciting venture, one scary venture for many. But once they discover they can actually say hello to their neighbors, we have profound transformation at the scale of an individual reaching out to another. And then when they learn about this program called Cool Block, they're transforming their carbon footprint by 32%. They're reducing it. They're becoming disaster resilient. They're building livability. They're building social connections. And when you scale that, you begin to have a cool city. And when you scale that, you begin to have a carbon neutral city. And when you scale that, you have a carbon neutral state or country or planet. It all starts at the level of the individual, saying, yes, I am and I can, and block. And it goes up and up. And the third area that we have been very excited about is the area of peace. Now, peace is a word that's often not understood. And at the end of the day, it looks like top-down is the source. We have to get people at the top of, in our governments to change their behaviors. But when you actually look at what causes the need for armaments, what it is our relationship with each other needs to change. If we can befriend the other, if we can be able to get cooperation for the common good, if we can empower the children to befriend the other, if we can support all of the organizations that are saying yes to this, if we can support those that are building what we call a unitive field where we see our common humanity, these are the 7 actions to create peace on Earth. And those actions at scale, using the internet as a medium in a way that has never been used before, is profound. Think of your social media network alone, distributing this game we call the Peace on Earth by 2030 game. What if we could have peace on Earth by 2030? How crazy would that be? What if we could heal our environment and transform our trajectory around climate change by 2030? Well, that would be off the scale. What if we could actually start to transform the whole cycle of poverty by 2030? What if the Sustainable Development Goals that the UN created were actually able to be enabled by these tools of agency and second-order change, transformative social change? We'd have a different world. It's possible. More than possible. It's doable. And we think we can pull this thing off. I know that sounds crazy, but it really can happen. I really believe it. And when you learn more about this, you may believe it too. I hope you do, because we need a lot of you to say yes.